Let me tell you something that no one likes to say out loud. After you hit 70, things start to change. Not just your body or your routine. I'm talking about the way people look at you, the way they talk to you, the way they slowly start to avoid you, and it ain't always their fault. Sometimes, without even knowing it, we push them away. Now, I've been around long enough to see it happen to folks I care about, and I've seen it happen to me too. But the worst part is, if you don't see it coming and fix it, you can end up alone. Not just sitting in an empty house, I'm talking about a deeper kind of loneliness, the kind that eats away at your spirit. At first, you tell yourself it's nothing. Your children don't call as often, the neighbors wave from a distance but don't stop to chat. Old friends start missing lunch dates or suddenly get too busy. And you sit there thinking, well, maybe they're just busy. But deep inside, it stings. You start wondering, did I do something wrong? Am I boring now? Have I become a burden? And let me tell you, those questions are heavy. I've carried them myself. You see, when you're young or even middle-aged, people still expect things from you. You've got a job, you've got energy, you've got responsibilities. But once you pass 70, there's a quiet shift. Folks start thinking of you as the one who needs help, not the one who helps. And that shift, if you're not careful, changes how you carry yourself. It starts small. You complain more. You reminisce more than you ask questions. You start correcting people instead of listening. You become cautious instead of curious. Without meaning to, you become hard to be around. Now, I don't say this to hurt you. I say this because it hurt me when someone finally said it to me. I was 80 when my grandson, bless his soul, told me gently, "Grandpa, sometimes you don't really hear me out. You just start telling me what I should do." That one sentence made me sit in silence for a long time. I wasn't angry. I was heartbroken. Because I remembered all the times my father did the same to me, and I swore I'd never become like that. But there I was, slowly becoming the very thing I used to hate. And this is the problem. People don't avoid you because of your age. They avoid you because of how you change after a certain age. And those changes, they don't have to happen. But if they do, they make you less pleasant to be around. You start thinking you're being wise, but really you're being rigid. You think you're being helpful, but really you're being critical. And over time, people stop calling. They stop inviting. They stop trying. And once that happens, you slip into a kind of sadness that's hard to crawl out of. You start believing nobody loves you. But it's not that simple. It's not that they don't love you. It's that they don't know how to connect with you anymore. And they might be hurting too, unsure how to approach you without feeling corrected, dismissed, or judged. That's the part we don't often admit, that maybe, just maybe, we've stopped being the person they used to love being around. I've learned sometimes too late that staying connected means staying humble. Even at 70, even at 80, even at 90, it means asking more than telling. It means listening without trying to fix everything. It means letting younger people teach you things, even if you think you already know them. Because let me tell you, that smartphone your granddaughter is always on, that's her world. And if you mock it or act like it's worthless, you're pushing her away. Not because she's rude, but because you're telling her the things she loves is foolish. You do that enough, and she stops showing up. I've had to swallow my pride more than once. When my daughter told me I interrupt her too much. When my neighbor told me I complain about the government every time we talk. When my old friend stopped calling because I always turned our conversations into lectures. It took me years to see the pattern. And by the time I did, some of those bridges were already burned. That's why I'm telling you now. Before it's too late, you can fix it. But you have to be honest with yourself. You have to ask yourself if you've been listening lately. Really listening. Or just waiting for your turn to talk. Ask yourself if you've been curious about other people's lives or just talking about how things used to be. Ask yourself if you've been giving love or just expecting it. Because at this age, people will love you deeply if you make them feel seen, not scolded. If you laugh with them, not at the world. If you show interest, not impatience. And yes, it's hard. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you're in pain. Sometimes you feel left behind in a world that's moving too fast. But let me tell you a secret. People aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for connection. You don't need to be full of energy. You just need to be present. Ask your grandson what game he's playing. Let your niece show you that silly dance on her phone. Talk less about what's wrong with the world and more about what's beautiful in it. Tell your stories not as lectures, but as memories meant to be shared, not imposed. And if you've hurt people along the way, it's never too late to say, "I'm sorry, I was trying to help, but I see now that maybe I wasn't listening enough." That sentence alone can open doors you thought were shut forever. Let people see that you're still growing, that you're still learning, that you're still curious about life, because no one outgrows the need to be around someone who makes them feel good. And if you're honest, maybe you stop doing that without realizing it. I know it's not easy. Changing how you act when you've lived so long a certain way can feel like trying to move a mountain. But you don't need to change everything. Just start with one thing. Ask one person how they're doing and really listen. Apologize to one person if you've been too harsh. Say thank you more. Say I love you more. Stop trying to prove a point and start trying to build a bridge. You're not too old. You're not too late. You're not forgotten. But you do have to meet people halfway. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know that love doesn't come from age. It comes from humility. It comes from warmth. It comes from the willingness to admit you don't have all the answers, even after 70 years. So before more people slip away, before more birthdays go quiet, before more holidays feel cold, start today. Call someone and ask them about their day. Listen without jumping in. Smile even if your knees hurt. Laugh even if you've heard the story before. And most of all, love them not as someone who's been through more, but as someone who still wants to go through life with them. You've still got time, but only if you choose to use it. Don't wait for them to come back. Go to them, not with judgment, but with joy, not with answers, but with open arms. Because the truth is, people don't hate you after 70. They just miss the version of you that made them feel loved. Bring that person back, not for them, for yourself, for your heart, for your peace. It's never too late to be someone people are drawn to again. You've still got it. You just have to let it shine. Now let's clear some common questions. Am I willing to humble myself enough to reach out, say sorry, and rebuild connections that time and pride have damaged? My friend, sit with me a moment. Let an old man share a truth hard-earned through decades of triumph, regret, laughter, and silence. You've asked a question that has shaken many a soul in quiet rooms and sleepless nights. Am I willing to humble myself enough to reach out, say sorry, and rebuild connections that time and pride have damaged? Let me tell you, there were days in my youth when I thought time healed everything, that wounds would close on their own, that silence could somehow turn into forgiveness if given long enough. But I learned through pain more than wisdom that some bridges burn slowly, and the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to find your way back across. I once had a brother not of blood but of heart. We were inseparable from the time we were boys, grew up in the same dusty town, fished the same river, dreamed under the same stars. But life as it does threw its storms our way. Pride crept in like a thief in the night, a careless word here, a hurt ego there. And suddenly, we were strangers. Not overnight, no. It was a slow erosion. We stopped calling, then we stopped asking. Eventually, we stopped caring, or so we told ourselves. I told myself for years that he should be the one to reach out. After all, he wronged me, didn't he? I rehearsed conversations in my head, drafted letters in my mind, but never sent them. Pride is a bitter drink, my friend, and I sipped it every day, convincing myself I was right. Meanwhile, the seasons passed. His children grew. Mine did too. I watched their birthdays through photos someone else shared. I heard about his father's passing through a neighbor, and I felt the sting of regret, sharp as a blade. But still, I didn't reach out. Not then. It took me almost 20 years to realize that being right is not worth the price of a lost connection. I missed weddings. I missed laughter. I missed years of stories that we were supposed to write together. All because I thought I was protecting my dignity. But what I was really doing was letting my pride fence me in, locking out the people I loved most. Humbling oneself does not mean admitting you were the only one wrong. It means valuing the relationship more than your ego. It means saying, what we had was too good to let die like this. It means choosing connection over vindication. I remember the day I finally called him. I was shaking like a leaf. My wife had just gone through surgery, and something about sitting beside her hospital bed watching the machines beep out borrowed time made me think of all the people I once held dear. It made me realize how fragile everything is. I picked up the phone with trembling hands and dialed his number from memory. When he answered, I couldn't speak for a long moment. And then, without plan or polish, I just said, "I'm sorry. I miss you." I braced myself for silence, for anger. But what came instead was his voice cracking, saying, "I've missed you too." We cried that night. Two grown men with years of pain between them, crying like children. He apologized too. We shared our sides. We talked about our stubbornness. And though we couldn't reclaim all the time we had lost, we reclaimed each other. That moment, my friend, was more powerful than any victory I ever had in business or life. I would trade many of my so-called successes just to have done it sooner. The hardest part of rebuilding a broken connection is not the reaching out. It's the voice in your head that tells you not to. The one that whispers, "They don't care. It's too late. You'll look weak." That voice is a liar. It feeds on your pride and your pain. But if you push past it, if you can just reach out with sincerity, with vulnerability, you might find that the person on the other side has been waiting too. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for the other person to make the first move. Time does not owe us healing. We have to work for it. And I'll tell you this too. Sometimes the person you reach out to won't be ready. Sometimes they're too hurt, too guarded, or too far gone. But even then, even in the silence of an unanswered message or the coldness of a closed door, there's a peace that comes with knowing you tried, that you laid down your pride and extended a hand. And sometimes that's all the healing you need. But more often than not, you'll be surprised. I've seen it happen over and over again with others I know. A father who hadn't spoken to his daughter in over 10 years. A friend estranged from his childhood buddy after a drunken argument. And in every story that ended well, there was always one thing in common. Someone humbled themselves first. Someone said, "I'm sorry." Someone decided that love was more important than being right. You see, my friend, we are not meant to carry pride like armor. It gets heavy. It isolates us. We are meant to live connected, to laugh, to argue, to forgive, to remember, and yes, sometimes to say, "I was wrong." And when we do, when we break the silence with sincerity, we plant something that can grow again. Relationships are like gardens. They require tending. Sometimes they get overgrown with weeds of resentment, but the soil is still good. With a little humility and care, beauty can grow again. So I ask you now, are you willing, truly willing, to lay down the sword of your pride, to pick up the phone, or knock on a door, or write a letter with shaking hands? Are you willing to be the one who says, "I'm sorry. Can we talk?" If you are, then you are already stronger than most, because it takes courage to be humble. More than most ever find. But I promise you it is worth it. Every tear, every awkward pause, every uncomfortable conversation. It is worth it if it brings healing, if it brings love back into your life. Don't let time or pride rob you of the people who matter. We don't get infinite chances. One day you'll find that all you have left are memories. Make them good ones. Make them right. While you still can. What small, intentional changes can I make today to become someone people look forward to seeing again? Now that is a question that stirs something deep in me. What small, intentional changes can I make today to become someone people look forward to seeing again? You know, I've walked a long road filled with the echo of hellos and the silence of goodbyes. I've watched friendships grow, fade, and in some rare and beautiful cases, return again like spring after a long winter. Let me tell you, it is not always the grand gestures or the big words that make people want to keep you in their lives. No, it's the little things, the small, steady kindnesses, the quiet presence, the warmth that lingers after you've walked away. And those things, my friend, don't take a fortune or a miracle. They just take intention. I remember when I was younger, I thought I had to impress people to be remembered. Flashy clothes, loud stories, always needing to be the smartest in the room. But what I found was that those things might win you a moment's attention, but they won't earn you a place in someone's heart. What makes a person unforgettable is how they make others feel. The warmth they bring into a room, the way they make people feel seen, heard, and safe. And becoming that kind of person, someone others look forward to seeing again, starts with a choice. A series of small, deliberate choices made every single day. Start with your smile, that simple curve of the lips. You'd be amazed how far a genuine smile goes. I'm not talking about the forced kind you flash to get through a conversation. I'm talking about the kind of smile that says, "I'm glad you're here." I've seen the hardest of hearts soften at the sight of a sincere smile. I've seen strangers open up just because someone looked them in the eye and greeted them with warmth. You don't need a reason to smile at someone. Sometimes your smile is the reason someone else finds the strength to face the rest of their day. Then there's the art of listening, not just hearing words, but listening. You know, when I was younger, I used to listen so I could respond. These days, I listen so I can understand. When someone speaks to you, treat their words like something sacred. Look at them. Put down your phone. Let them finish their sentence without jumping in. You'd be surprised how many people walk around feeling invisible. When you take the time to really listen, you become a rare and welcome presence in their world. They'll look forward to seeing you again, not because you have all the answers, but because you gave them the gift of being heard. Another small change, and this one takes humility, is learning to apologize quickly and sincerely. Don't let little offenses build into big walls. If you said something wrong, own it. If you missed a chance to be kind, admit it. I've lost time with people I love because I was too proud to say I was wrong. But I've also regained friendships just by having the courage to say, "I'm sorry." People don't expect perfection, but they do appreciate honesty. Be the kind of person who can admit fault without needing to be begged for it. And oh, never underestimate the power of remembering names, small details, birthdays, or favorite foods. These things may seem trivial, but they say, "You matter to me." I used to keep a little notebook when I was in my 30s, just jotting down things people mentioned, their kids' names, the town they grew up in, their favorite band. Over the years, those small notes became bridges. I could pick up a conversation from months ago, and people would light up that I remembered. In a world where everyone is busy, being remembered is a kind of magic. Another change you can make is to show up. And I mean really show up, not just physically, but emotionally. Be dependable. Be someone people can count on. You don't have to solve their problems, but be there. When someone's hurting, bring them a meal. When someone's celebrating, show up with your full heart. When someone is silent, check in. It doesn't take much. A message, a call, a short visit. You don't have to fix everything. Just be present. I've learned that presence, more than anything else, is what makes someone unforgettable. Choose kindness even when it's not returned, especially when it's not returned. There's a kind of strength in being gentle in a harsh world. I've walked away from arguments I could have won because I valued the relationship more than being right. I've paid for strangers' meals not because I had extra money, but because I remembered a time when someone did it for me. I've held doors, I've held hands, I've held space for grief that wasn't mine, and every one of those small actions added up. People remember how you made them feel. Be the reason someone believes in goodness again. Also, don't be afraid to laugh, really laugh. Life is too damn short to be serious all the time. Bring lightness where you go, share stories that lift spirits, laugh at yourself, show others it's okay to not have it all together. There is a kind of contagious joy in someone who doesn't take themselves too seriously. You don't have to be a clown, just be open to joy. People are drawn to that. They will look forward to seeing you again if being around you makes their load a little lighter. Lastly, be yourself. The world is full of copies. Be an original, embrace your quirks, speak from your heart, stand for what matters, but do so with grace. People can spot a fake a mile away, but they cherish those rare souls who are true. When you are unapologetically yourself, you give others permission to do the same. And that, my friend, is a beautiful gift. So if you want to become someone others look forward to seeing again, you don't need to wait until tomorrow. You don't need a title, a talent, or a perfect past. You need only to start today. Smile, listen, apologize. Remember, show up, be kind, laugh. be yourself. These things may seem small, but in a world that's often cold and hurried, they shine like lanterns in the dark. I've spent a lifetime learning that love is built on the little things. That connection grows not from loud declarations, but from quiet constancy. So go out today, be intentional, be present, be gentle. Let who you are be a soft place for others to land. If you do that, if you make these small changes, you will become someone people are glad to see again. Not because of what you bring or what you say, but because of who you are. And there's no better legacy than that. How can I leave behind a legacy of connection, warmth, and wisdom, rather than one of bitterness, regret, or loneliness? Now there's a question that goes deep into the bones. How can I leave behind a legacy of connection, warmth, and wisdom rather than one of bitterness, regret, or loneliness? That's not just a question, my friend. That's a compass for how to live the rest of your life. I've buried more friends than I care to count. I've watched the tears at funerals that were full of love and the awkward silences at those that were not. I've seen the difference between a man who lived for others and one who lived only for himself. And let me tell you, the legacy you leave is not written in stone or carved on a plaque. It's etched in the hearts of those you've touched. I didn't always understand that. There was a time I chased things that glittered but didn't last. Titles, money, recognition. I thought if I built enough, bought enough, proved enough, then I'd be remembered. But none of those things hold you when the nights get long and the mirror starts showing more wrinkles than dreams. When I hit my 50s, I looked around and realized I had more acquaintances than friends, more transactions than relationships. That's when it hit me. I was building a life that would echo with emptiness unless I changed. So I did. I started with forgiveness. Bitterness is a poison that stains everything it touches. It grows slow, like mold in the soul. I had to go back and untangle some of the knots I had tied over the years. I called people I hadn't spoken to in decades. I wrote letters I thought I'd never send. Some were received, some weren't. But the healing began inside me. You cannot pass on warmth if you are cold within. Let go of grudges. They are heavy and they don't serve you. If you want to leave behind connection, you must first open the door to it yourself. Next, I made the decision to be present. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But it might be the hardest thing in this fast world. I put down my phone. I started making eye contact. I asked people how they were doing and actually listened to the answer. I made it a point to remember names, stories, small details. I wanted people to feel that they mattered when they were around me. And over time, they did. I stopped trying to impress and started trying to connect. People don't remember your words as much as they remember how you made them feel. So I made it my mission to be someone who made others feel safe, valued, and seen. Warmth comes from generosity, not just of money, but of time, of spirit, of attention. I started cooking meals for neighbors, volunteering at local events, showing up to birthday parties and funerals, holding babies and shaking old hands. I mentored younger men who were stumbling through life just as I once did. I told them my mistakes, not to boast, but to warn and to teach. Wisdom, I've found, isn't about knowing everything. It's about being honest about what you've learned the hard way. It's about telling the truth when it's uncomfortable and offering guidance without preaching. I also stopped hiding my heart. I used to think emotions were weakness, that real men kept their feelings locked up tight. But the truth is, love unspoken is love unfinished. I started telling people I loved them, friends, children, even those who weren't used to hearing it. I wrote it down. I said it aloud. I wrapped it into every hug and handshake. Don't assume people know how you feel. Tell them. Often, you may not get another chance. I've had enough last conversations to know that regret is loud when love is left unsaid. And then there's the stories. Tell your stories. All of them. The hard ones. The funny ones. The ones that still sting a little. We are wired for stories. That's how wisdom travels through time. That's how we leave breadcrumbs for those who come after us. Don't be afraid to look foolish. Your scars carry lessons. Share them. Around dinner tables, on long walks, in quiet moments with those you love. Let them know who you are, not just what you did. Let them know what you've learned and what you still don't know. That kind of vulnerability builds a legacy that no storm can wash away. And laugh. Good Lord, don't forget to laugh. Life can be cruel and relentless, but laughter softens the blows. Share joy. Find humor in the small things. Tell jokes even if they're bad. Dance even if your knees hurt. Be someone who reminds others that life, though hard, is still beautiful. That light still breaks through the darkest clouds. People will remember that about you long after they forget your resume. Also, take time to be still. Reflection is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Sit with your thoughts. Pray if that's your way. Write down your memories. Speak kindly to your past self. Don't let shame write your story. We all stumble. What matters is that we rise again with grace and keep going. A wise man knows he is always learning, always growing. Leave behind a trail not of perfection, but of persistence and humility. Above all, love people. Fiercely, consistently, patiently. Be there when it's inconvenient. Choose people over productivity. Relationships are the only legacy that lasts. Your love, if freely given and rooted deep, will outlive you in the hearts of those you leave behind. I've seen it. I've felt it. In the way a daughter talks about her father. In the way a friend raises a toast with tears in his eyes. In the way a community remembers the quiet kindness of someone who never needed recognition. So if you want to leave behind connection instead of bitterness, warmth instead of regret, and wisdom instead of loneliness, start now. Right where you are. In the conversations you have today. In the hand you reach for. In the silence you fill with presence instead of noise. Don't wait for a grand moment. Legacy is built in the small ones. In every choice to love instead of judge. To forgive instead of resent. To listen instead of interrupt. You won't always get it right, but every effort counts. Every small act of love is a seed. Plant them daily. Water them with your time, your truth, and your heart. When my time comes, I don't want people to say I was perfect. I want them to say I made them feel loved, that I made them feel seen, that I helped them carry their burdens, if only for a little while. That's the kind of legacy worth leaving, and it's never too late to begin building it. So go on, my friend. You have more time than you think, and more love to give than you know. Use both well. If you liked today's discussion, don't forget to like the video. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to stay updated with every video we release. And yes, don't forget to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments. Every comment is special to us. Your feedback helps us improve further. We'll continue to meet you in every new video on this channel. So until next time, take care.